Hey, this PoeticWhiz. I'm going to talk about the budget iPad 11. Here's what I wish Apple should consider doing it on the upcoming iPad budget 11. I know it's wholesome to say, but I'm still figuring it out. Yeah, okay. So as I was saying, it's high time Apple gives a laminated display on the budget iPad. Considering this is one factor where the budget iPad lags. It's a hit and miss in my opinion. If there's a laminated display, it's way better. It would be almost like having an iPhone SE, a MacBook Air 15-inch. It's like that sort of range. I feel Apple should really consider giving a laminated display. You might be asking why. You might be wondering why I mentioned these two products alongside the budget iPad 11. Because if you go to see the MacBook Air 15-inch and the iPhone SE, these both have great displays. They are not the high cost. They are not like the 120 Hz promotion, nothing like that. They are decent enough for most average consumers to use it. No matter, regardless, if this is not the best in the world class. So laminate display is something I wish to really see. Quad speaker would be a nice bonus to have, but stereo speaker is still better in my opinion. Because I feel most of us would be using TWS no matter what. I personally have moved to TWS. I'm someone who prefers wired headphones even now. To wired headphones, I know this would be a bit controversial, but I'm glad the move to USB-C with iPhone 15 has been great overall in my regards. Now that's where I feel the budget iPad having the USB-C, no matter you're a TWS person or wired person, you can always binge watch on your favorite shows, listen to music no matter what. And you know why I'm saying this? The key factor being, I'm not a personally fan of the wired earphones Apple provides. I rather go to Samsung. You know why? Because the ones made by Samsung are way better. They are comfortable in your ears and they sound great. And for a fraction of the price. Same with Apple is not that. It does not fit anyone's ears. But with Samsung it definitely does. So having a great combination of two different ecosystems is still better than trying to decide if you're on TWS side or wired side. So yeah, quad speakers, I don't think so Apple would be doing it, but they should consider doing on the iPad Air in my opinion at least. Budget iPad stereo speaker is still fine. As for the display size, I feel it's fine to have the same display size. A 10.9 inch is still fine in my opinion, at least that's what should be the standard on the budget iPad at least in my opinion. As for the battery life, I feel they should be great, decent enough and should able to sustain the 10 hours. I know Apple has always been claiming 10 hours of battery life on all the iPads since the inception, but I feel that's something hit and miss. I feel probably, I'm not sure, but that's what I feel. If you are someone who is a pro user but still on a budget, I would still consider you getting the budget iPad no matter what, regardless of what. I have a budget iPad, I still use it. I might not use it now for LumaFusion or Procreate, but it's decent enough for all your pro level work, no, regardless of what. And even audio, if you ask me. Because the apps I use on the iPad, if on the budget iPad mostly, were LumaFusion, Procreate, Infinity Design, depending on if you prefer Infinity Design or Procreate, Fahrenheit. Okay, I'm not getting this name right, but I'll mention it somewhere here in the screen. So these are the apps I use on the budget iPad, and for those works, the budget iPad is still better comparing to the iPad Air or the Pro. Yeah, I know the display is not P3, but either way, it's decent enough to do all your works for the fraction of price. And yes, as for the iPad OS, it's still nowhere near to what its true precision. iPad OS is still behind in my regards, I feel. Not as same as Mac OS and iOS. Because if you go to the software side on all these Apple ecosystem, let be the iPad OS, iOS and Mac OS. iOS and Mac OS are still far ahead and leaps and bounces compared to iPad OS. iPad OS is nowhere near to what I feel we all wish to see someday. It might have the pro level apps, but they don't take that full power of that hardware, I feel. I know ray tracing is going to be a big thing on the iPad and the iPhone and Mac in the future, but currently I feel they're nowhere close to what truly a good tablet should feel like, in my opinion. Ecosystem is there definitely, but we as users prefer different things in different ways. We use our iPad in different ways. So yeah, as for the colors, I feel, yeah, okay, here's something I really want to tell you all. Apple colorways with the iPad especially have been haywire in my opinion. Let it be the iPad Air, the iPad Pro. Okay, the iPad Pro is still better in terms of colors, but the iPad Air and the budget iPad, I feel it's sometimes haywire. If you tell me which are my favorite iPad color schemes, I would say mostly go with the budget iPad, what was recently released, compared to the iPad Air color waves. I don't know who are the people behind the color waves of the iPad Air, but here's something I really am a bit bummed that we do not have a black option in the budget iPad, but we do have on the Air and the Pros. Because I really wish a black option should be there no matter what. Not all of us love fun colors, but we are simple in some ways. First team, I might say. So yeah, as I was mentioning about the USB-C, there's one more thing I feel Apple should really consider doing it. I know they have done it, but that's something I feel in nowhere close to what I feel a truly budget iPad should feel like. And what I mean is having the support of Apple second generation support on the budget iPad at least. You might be asking why. Yes, it does not have a laminated display. Plus, the first generation Apple Pencil is meh, whereas the second generation is way better in my regards. But here's what Apple could really do to enhance the user experience and to make the second gen iPad be available on all iPad, regardless of which iPad you are owning. See here, Apple does not need to go the magnetic route what we currently have in the iPad Air and the iPad Pro. Apple can still enable the second generation Apple Pencil on the budget iPad, yet retaining the space and not having it magnetically be hooked to the iPad on the budget iPad. Rather have it separate charging port. Now you'll be asking how that would be possible. I know there would be accessories and all the stuff, but if you look at the brighter side, I do not know how many of you still use the Apple dongle or whatever this is, the Apple charging dock. I don't know how many of you still use it, but I feel something like that. If we get for the Apple Pencil Generation 2 that goes along with the budget iPad, it would be great. I feel the pricing on the budget iPad should be reduced somewhere around 300 to 400 bucks. If that's the price we get, it would be better buy than what the current price is. I know the current price is way too high, and I feel they do not fit the bill enough. I don't feel that's value for money in my regard. Because if you see the iPad 9 currently is way better than the budget iPad 10, and that's what I feel. It's overall a decent iPad. It's way more capable in doing things that I feel there's no point in buying other iPad models, and that's what I feel. Okay, this is something I feel Apple should change a bit, but not drastically. That's the charging speed on the iPads. I feel they should increase it. That's not only on the iPad but on the iPhones as well. So yeah, do let me know what you wish to see on the upcoming budget iPad 11 in the comment section below. Till then, this is your PoeticWhiz. Do like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Live your dreams.